Welcome to Daily Focus. Appreciate you joining me today. Yesterday, I had a bunch of teenage boys to my house first thing in the morning and trimmed a lot of trees, and they hauled the brush, and now I have a huge pile of brush in the front of my house. And then meetings throughout the day did not allow me to do a daily focus, but I wanted to take some time this morning before my day gets going too busy and share the rest of Psalm 55, the deceit of a betrayer, and the heartbreak that comes as David describes what goes on in the heart of a betrayer. Someone who has been a dear, true, sweet friend and now is a bitter enemy because of bitterness, because of harboring something in their heart. For Judas, it was greed. For Ahithophel, it was bitterness. I don't know what you've experienced. Sometimes competition as to who's going to be the authority will breed a division. Sometimes it's misunderstanding and taking offense that breeds a division. And sometimes it's just flat out selfishness, wanting your own way, or them wanting their own way, that breeds a division. But what is really described? And so I hate to do negative ones, especially at the end of the week going into the weekend, but that's what the text teaches us. And so David is going to finish Psalm 55 with a description. He says in verse 16, "As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. Evening and morning, and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He hath delivered my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there were many with me. God shall hear and afflict them, even he that abideth of old, Selah. Because they have no changes, therefore they fear not God." In other words, David said, I'm going to do the right thing because those are my decisions. I'm going to trust in the Lord because that's a decision that I'm making. I'm going to pray for them because that is a decision that I'm making. But I don't get to make any of their decisions. And if they want to hurl offense, and they want to do evil, and they want to produce hurt, and they want to ultimately destroy character or destroy a life, I can't make their decisions, but I make all of mine. And so he is going to express that his trust is going to be on the Lord. And we talk a little bit about that. And then he is going to say in verse number 20, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. In other words, I wasn't stirring up the trouble. I wasn't trying to destroy them. I wasn't trying to take his life. I wasn't trying to berate his character. This was just something that we should have been able to work through, but it was not able to be worked through because he didn't want it to be worked through. He wanted to use this as justification and a platform to do the wrong thing. And so he hath put his hand against me, as such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant, that friendship bond. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. In other words, he was so deceptive. He would talk to me like we're still buds. He would talk to me like there's not a problem, but he was going around and creating a war with his words. He was very deceitful, but also very destructive in what he was trying to do to David's character and David's life. He says, he was at war in his heart, but words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. In other words, when he was in front of David, he would say one thing. When he was in front of David's supporters, he would say another thing. But when he was with those that were after David, he was completely a different person. And in a deceptive betrayer, that's exactly what you get, is the smiles and the warm lovey-dovey when they're looking at you and talking to you. But as soon as they get away from you, they are bitter enemies. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. But thou, O God, shalt bring them down into the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee. In other words, David said, you know what? They're on a bad path and I don't get to make their decisions. In ministry, I have watched people choose a selfish, evil path, and it just heaps consequences upon them. But as the consequences come upon them, they don't want to repent and turn from it. So they just keep blaming someone else and see themselves as the victim. Everything goes wrong for me. Everything comes back against me. I'm just trying to do the right thing, and doing the right thing just always costs over and over again. And what David is trying to help us understand is that these people are on the path to destruction, and they refuse to acknowledge it. They are so filled with selfishness and pride that they think they're right, no matter how God tries to confront them, no matter how difficult it gets in the path. They pride themselves in the victim mindset. And so David says, you know what? I'm just going to trust in the Lord. I'm going to cast my burden. I love them. I wish I could help them. I wish it could be different, but I make my decisions, but I don't make any of theirs. And so the deceit of a betrayer breaks the heart of the person who wants to go back to having the friendship, but the person just refuses to do that, but marches down this path of deceit, playing one part over here and being completely different in another arena. Well, I don't know about you. I don't know your situation. This may be something that you're dealing with at work. It might be something that you're dealing with in your family. It might be just something that you're dealing with in life. But we can always rest assured, even though people make bad decisions, we make all of ours, and our decisions can please the Lord. I hope that's an encouragement to you. God bless you. God will give us grace and mercy and strength and wisdom to do the right thing no matter the situation. God bless you.